Moon Wallet, you don't know whether you're using Lightning or Base Chain when you make payments.
Yeah.
How the fuck does that work?
I don't know. It's wizardry.
Yeah.
I mean, Moon Wallet's incredible, and they're trying to tackle the obvious problem is that Lightning doesn't work properly.
Okay, we'll come back to that. I think they're solving another problem is you're having to think about two networks, Base Chain and Lightning. So when we ran the meetup, we covered Bitcoin and then we covered the Lightning network. And if you don't know any of this, that's a massive leap to go, from one to the other. It's like, right, I've got this Bitcoin center there. Oh, but I need to also use a Lightning wallet to do quick pay. Like to get rid of that and just not have to think about it. You have Bitcoin. I think that's a great solution.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's never underestimate how much people can scale up. Like think about the early internet and when people didn't know what email was and whatever else, and all sounded very complicated. And then people scale up and they learn all these things. So one day people understand and be able to operate and use daily public key crypto. It will happen. Of course it will happen.
Yeah, but I think if you compare it to the internet, there's two types of people. There are some people who want Bitcoin who are going to want to have a wallet and a phone, and they're going to go and they just want to go pay and forget about it. And like the internet, there are some people who are going to not run a Mac or are not going to run a PC. They're going to build their own computer. They're going to understand how it works and dig into it and care about all this. There's a variety of people.
And this is the kind of the point. Just to kind of go back on ourselves a little bit. This is kind of the point of why, as Bitcoiners, they shouldn't be scared or blacklist this area of custodialship. Because there are people within, a community who are a bit more technically competent and they're more likely to set up that server.
Yeah.
You make it as easy as possible so as many people can be that person. But for the immediate and near-term future, it's certainly going to be that there's technically competent people are going to be the ones managing these nodes, and also the ones with resources, because these nodes cost quite a lot of money to run, manage channels and all that sort of stuff.
Well, there is a lot to think about. So if I'm running, let's compare it back to running the football club, right? When we take payments on our website, all that happens is people select their card or PayPal, and the money ends up in our bank account.
Yeah.
Okay, and when people come to the ground and they buy a beer, they scan Zettel, and it ends up in our bank account. That's all that we have to think about. And then we have this pool of money in our bank account.
And there's like the Rube Goldberg machine of all these crazy things happening in order for that process to happen.
Yeah, but like with this, we've got like OpenNode and there's sats on OpenNode. And then we also then put some of the sats back into our hardware wallet, our cold storage, but we can leave some in a float, which is on a hardware wallet. And then if we accept this, we have sats here. Like there's a lot of disparate things that can be going on with Bitcoin. There always is. And I assume most people, when they want to, like, when they think about how much Bitcoin they own, they just don't just say, oh, I've got 12 Bitcoin. They go, right, I've got 2 Bitcoin there. I've got on that hardware wallet, I've got, another Bitcoin on my phone. I've got 100,000 sats in that. Like there's a lot of disparate sources.
This is why I quite like the idea of like scrub solutions, where you're just looping out to on-chain when it gets to a certain amount.
I like that.
Because then, I mean, if you can just use somebody else's service and, your risk profile is what, 100 quid, which is going into that wallet. And I mean, that's fine. Maybe you have to pay a 1% or 2% transaction fee for them giving you that service. So that's why I quite like it for a way of onboarding for people. But I think that people will become accustomed to having cold storage Bitcoin, which is secure on chain. Not saying Lightning isn't secure. And then you have payments Bitcoin, which is your checking account, which you're going to use for payments. So your savings account and your checkings account,
and your Lightning wallet.
Yeah, well, this is your Lightning wallet. Is your checking.
Well,
account.
So I think there's almost 3. I think you have your cold storage on chain.
Yeah.
Then you have your hardware wallet on chain.
I don't know. I mean, a cold storage. I'm saying hardware wallet.
So I said multi-sig. So I think you have your multi-sig.
Oh, well, that's going another level.
Well, so if you think in terms of a company that might have, a cafe is maybe different. Say it's a company that is dealing 6-7 figures of Bitcoin. Like
then a multi-sig with a Trezor with a secure module, plus a device which doesn't have the supply chain attack. Is the secret sauce right there?
I mean, you've got to be going some to supply chain attack, Ledger, Trezor, and Coldcard on a.
How many?
And a phone.
I don't know. I mean, they're all using these different. A few of them are using different secure modules, but I would like to have an off-the-shelf device.
That's what I mean.
Because then there's no supply. I know there's no supply chain attack, and I can do a multi-sig. But I think this is the most important thing, is that you have different kind of like payment journeys for different users.
Yeah.
for someone in the UK, Europe, whatever, they want to accumulate Bitcoin, have it go to their Kraken account, have it go to a hardware wallet. For someone in El Salvador, they want maybe something a bit more circular.
Yeah.
And then maybe we just use that Scrub extension just to send it to their Lightning wallet they've got on their phone, and then just use it, when they're going out and about. So you have to kind of like cater. And I think this is actually why it's been great that we've had all this uptake from countries which haven't got more established financial systems, because we're having to then build and address some of the problems with this technology for users like that, such as, it being incredibly expensive to run a Lightning node, for example. And for the average El Salvadorian, like they don't have access to anything else than something which is custodial, because they can't do their own non-custodial Lightning payments. It's too expensive, too hard, and they haven't got the internet coverage or whatever.
You came out with quite a controversial statement a moment ago. You just said Lightning Network doesn't work.
So the promise...
We're going to have to talk about that.
The promise and the assumption is that everybody can build a node. So like my gizmos, for example.
I'm going to move this just because I want to see your face.
Like my gizmos, for example, the first gizmo I made was I went to a Lightning Hack Day and someone had made a sweep machine which had a full Bitcoin node in it and a Lightning node. And then you would scan a QR code, you go to a website, you'd find a QR, pay the QR code, and then you could get it to spit out sweets.
That was like my McDonald's experience in El Salvador.
I thought McDonald's experience was quite good in El Salvador.
I thought Starbucks was way better.
Really?
Yeah, because Starbucks...
I went and just paid for a coffee. I went to did you go to the do-it-yourself thing?
So I don't know if it's changed, but the day I went the day it happened, and went into Starbucks, and they just gave me popped up a phone, scanned and done. Whereas with McDonald's, what was the issue? They popped up, so I did it on the screen, and then it popped up a QR code. I can't remember what the issue was. Was it that it gave me a Lightning address and I had a base chain, or maybe it gave me a base chain address and I had a Lightning, and it didn't tell me which it was, and I was assuming I was going to pay with Lightning. Something was just not as smooth. I can't remember what it was.
When I was there for the conference, I went to McDonald's, and again, a shout out to OpenNode. I was relieved when I went there because I saw the mess with Athena and the Shiva wallet stuff, and I was relieved when I went out to McDonald's, and then I saw this OpenNode thing, and then the OpenNode Lightning invoice pop up, and then I paid it, and it went pretty well. Like my wallet was actually slow. I did a little demo video, but my wallet ran slow, so it made it look slow. But actually, the OpenNode side was fast and it worked. But it made me confident that, and I think and this is why they're such a great company. Like from the beginning of Lightning being set up, like OpenNode was there, and it was offering a very professional service. So if you had a big corporate customer like a McDonald's who suddenly wanted to use Bitcoin or Lightning, they could speak to this company, speak to OpenNode, and then OpenNode could build them a solution, which they did, I thought, in El Salvador. And maybe I was there, maybe I did it a few days after you, and they ironed out some bugs or something.
You know what? It might have been my own user error. Probably was. No.
Yeah, but it was a testament to that's the best thing about OpenNode. It's so stable, and if you have someone who doesn't care about KYC and they just want to accumulate some sats and then for it to go out to a bank account or on chain, then that's a great solution to push people, point people towards.
Well, OpenNode have done everything to help us with the football club, and they have been brilliant. And we do it as a way for the club to accumulate sats, because when we're selling merchandise, I reckon one in 15 orders is people paying with Bitcoin. And so they have the option where you can choose to say keep 50% in fiat and 50% in Bitcoin. It's such a low number of orders. We just keep all our Bitcoin orders in Bitcoin. We just leave them there. In terms of structure, though, what we do have a multi-sig cold storage with the keys distributed amongst different people. We then have what we call the float, which is just a single hardware wallet, which carries a small amount of Bitcoin, but that is our float for, if we have to pay, like we had a ref who wanted to be paid in Bitcoin recently, so to pay him, or just that small amount. And then what we have is all the different payment channels in Bitcoin that go into OpenNode. The OpenNode stuff goes into the float. Once the float hits a certain threshold, we put that into cold storage.
Sweet.
And so we're gradually accumulating Bitcoin as a club. And but there is just these different things to keep like an eye on. And
Well, I feel I need to go back to qualifying
Yes.
my statement
Yes.
about Lightning being broken.
Bold
So
statement.
the promise was that everything would have a Lightning node in, like that point of sale would have a Lightning node in. Everything would have Lightning nodes in, and it would all be non-custodial. It'd be great, and we'd easily be able to set up these channels, and we'd have great network connectivity. And the reality is, we have a lot of failed payments in Lightning. Obviously, opening a channel requires an on-chain transaction, which is quite expensive and it's tricky to manage and balance. There's some great autopilot solutions which are being worked on, which are going to be very helpful towards CL Boss is a good one for C Lightning. It's a fantastic plugin. You just give it on chain and it just goes and makes Lightning channels. That's great. That sort of work needs to continue. And also, in the future, we'll have things like channel factories where we can have like multiple channels set up on single transactions. That's cool too. And I think that comes out of the Taproot stuff. But this concept that everything would have a Lightning node in, it hasn't happened yet. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. I'm not sure. And I think that what's interesting is from the ground, for people actually using and developing solutions on Lightning, like the Simple Bitcoin Wallet people, they come up with solutions. And one of them, which I think is great, is hosted channels. So do you know how a hosted channel works?
No, but I could probably guess from the title.
Basically, you're using somebody else's liquidity in their channel. But what's cool about it, so it's a custodial solution, right? But what's cool about it, rather than it being like a wallet of Satoshi where, and again, hats off to Wallet of Satoshi, has done great things for Lightning, but it is fully custodial and they could just like lie about your balance amount on there. There's nothing you can really do about it. With a hosted channel, you have like cryptographic proof if someone tries to rip you off. So I can spin up a simple Bitcoin wallet. And I think hosted channels will become quite a thing in Lightning because it kind of patches it up and makes it work how it was originally promised to work or how a lot of us thought it would work. You can open Simple Bitcoin Wallet. It'll automatically go and get a hosted channel. It takes seconds, right? It goes and gets a hosted channel. Maybe it could get a hosted channel from someone like LM Big, some big operator. They can get a fee for this. They can charge for this service. They can get some yield on their liquidity in their channels. And they can actually use it, I think, as well to like balance their own channel somehow. Anyway, so you go get a hosted channel. So it gives you instant, like 1 million Satoshis inbound liquidity. So you can start receiving payments. If LM Big rip you off, you have a cryptographic proof, which you can take publicly and say, look, I have proof this node ripped me off, which you don't have when it comes to other custodial solutions. And I think that's a really nice, I think it's like, it's appreciating there's nuance in all these topics. So custodianship, yes, there's very bad forms of it, which people should really not do. But then there's better forms of it. It's a very gray area. It's a gray spectrum. And another thing hosted channels do very well is they can, because you can, if you make a hosted channel public, the trust which you're putting into the hosted channel provider, if someone's using it for routing payments, they don't have to put that trust in there. If it doesn't work, the payment doesn't go through. But what it means is we can have like many more channels without those on-chain transactions. So it's a very interesting technology. I think we're going to talk about, if we have time, maybe stable coins and stuff.
Yeah, well, we'll come back to that. Just so a couple of things that have been on my mind a long time with it, and kind of the circle I was never able to square early on was that, if people needed to open up channels to be able to use the Lightning Network, or if you go into, if on-chain, say it was on-chain fees were up to say £5 or something at that point, and you might be in jurisdictions where that's all the Bitcoin they have. And so there's certain people who just will need to only live on Lightning, which we know in certain jurisdictions and maybe for certain periods of times. But how does that person use Bitcoin in a way where their funds are protected, yet they never have any on-chain Bitcoin? How does that happen? Can it happen?
I think with Lightning, it's a hot wallet.
Yeah.
So the wallet needs to be connected. It needs to be online. You can't take those Lightning funds, put them into cold storage. Some of the people Bitcoin is whatever we want it to be and whatever it needs, whatever the world needs it to be. And if there's any problem we have, like the scaling problem, now we have Lightning Network and we have a whole bunch of new problems, but we have something which does work and you can't do these microtransactions. I think that as a problem will be addressed.